Why their marriage has lasted centuries. In Hollywood, a lot of things seem to have a short but exciting life, and relationships are no different. They said "I do" more than 15 years ago, and the relationships are still going strong. Here's a list of those couples. We didn't even know some of them were married, and now they're famous power pairs. People who have been married for a long time and have been through the good times and bad times together are shown here. Robert Downey Jr. and Susan Levan's 17-year marriage. Robert Downey Jr. met his wife, Susan Levan, on the set of Iron Man 3 in 2003. They got married the next year. Levan was a director and senior vice president for a film company when they met for the first time. Since they got married, the two famous actors have worked together on several movies. They've also chosen to work together because they don't want to spend too much time apart. What a cutie! When Robert talked about his personal life, he said that Susan was a big part of getting him clean. Sounds like these two are really happy together. Joel McHale and Sarah Williams' 26-year marriage. You might be shocked to see Joel McHale on this list if you watched Community. Who would have thought that the star of the TV show was married for over 20 years? Sarah Williams is McHale's wife. They met in college. The star said that before he didn't have much luck with women before he met his wife. He even asked a friend to help him with Williams. Joel said that she finally gave in to him and agreed to marry him after she felt sorry for him and went on a date with him. They now have 2 kids together. Kelly Rippa and Mark Consuelos' 26-year marriage. Mark Consuelos and Kelly Rippa met at a screen test for All My Children in 1995. They started dating and quickly ran away together to start what would be a short but happy marriage. After 26 years and 3 children, the pair's still going strong. During conversations, they often talk about how hard it is to raise their kids and work at the same time. But the couple said that things aren't quite normal these days. This is why. Their kids are now in college, and they say it feels strange to have an empty house now. When you're in love, time goes by even faster. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw's 26-year marriage. People close to Tim McGraw said they were mad at him when he chose to marry Faith Hill, another country music star, in 1996. It might not be the reason you think, though. The couple chose to get married at McGraw's aunt's house in Louisiana instead of a fancy wedding, which made the sisters mad. In order to get their families to come, these sneaky lovers said they had a family baseball game. Then they got dressed up for the wedding and said "I do." His sisters were mad that they couldn't get dressed up for the big event. No matter what, we think it was a nice treat. Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness's 26-year marriage. Even though they've been married for 26 years, Hugh Jackman and Deborah Lee Furness have said that their marriage hasn't been the hard work that many people say it is. They met on the set of an Australian TV show and got married the next year. Jackman said that he knew she was the one after just 2 weeks of dating her. It might seem strange to some that the two are dating for more than one reason. In fact, Furness is about 13 years older than Jackman. Most of the time, the man is older than the woman in Hollywood when there's a big age gap. So many people were surprised when these two got together. Steve and Nancy Carell's 27-year marriage. Even though they've been married for 27 years, Steve and Nancy Carell may have one of the most romantic love stories on this list. Nancy and Steve met in the 1990s when Nancy was taking an acting class that Steve was teaching. Steve began going to see her at the bar where she worked, and they became friends. They got married in 1995. The two have worked together on many projects since then, such as when Nancy played Michael Scott's girlfriend on The Office for a while. He and she have also worked together on The Daily Show. Michelle Pfeiffer and David E. Kelley's 29-year marriage. Michelle Pfeiffer's been married to writer and director David E. Kelley for 29 years. They seem to have a pretty easy way of keeping things stable. Pfeiffer said that she thinks the key to a happy, long-lasting marriage is to find the right person. Also, she said that working with David would never put her happy marriage to him at risk. Michelle said she'd never work on a project with someone again after seeing other couples who seemed happy to do it together, but then quickly filed for divorce. Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson, 18 months. Two people named Ted Danson and Whoopi Goldberg were together in the 1990s. It was that time, and Goldberg had just won an Oscar for her part in Ghost. Danson was still on the hit show Cheers. They fell in love while making the comedy Made in America. People didn't like the link because Danson was still married to his wife, Cassandra, at the time, and it cost a lot for them to split up. About 18 months went by between Danson and Goldberg's relationship. After that, Goldberg said that their split was painful and public. John Travolta and Kelly Preston's 29-year marriage. Before they got married in 1991, John Travolta and Kelly Preston each had a few relationships that didn't work. Once they found each other, though, things went smoothly. Preston died in 2020 after a 2-year fight with breast cancer. She'd been married to her husband for 29 years. They had 3 children together during those almost 30 years of adventure. One of them died in 2009 at the age of 16. Travolta's been open about his marriage since his wife died. He said it was like the trusting relationship between a crowd and an actress. They were good times and bad times, but they always got through them. Sting and Trudy Styler's 30-year marriage. You might think that rock stars would have the hardest time in long-term relationships. That's sometimes true. Sting, on the other hand, has been married to Trudy Styler for 30 years. They started dating after meeting on the set where Styler worked with Sting's ex-wife. In the end, they got married in 1993 and now have 4 kids. Sting has told us how to have a happy marriage, and the tips don't sound too hard. We love each other, but we actually like each other, and that's an important difference there, he told People. Being in love means being passionate about someone, but liking someone and loving their company is a little different and lasts longer. Steven Spielberg and Kate Capshaw's 31-year marriage. Steven Spielberg's second wife, Kate Capshaw, he met on the set of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Even though they liked each other, they couldn't date until Spielberg got married and then divorced Amy Irving. After breaking up, Spielberg and Capshaw got back together and got married in 1991. After only a year, they had their first child. They now have 5 children together and 1 child from a past marriage. Capshaw stopped acting in 2001, but her husband, Steven Spielberg, is still making movies like crazy. It's no secret that the power pair has a lot of money. Bryan Cranston and Robin Dearden's 33-year marriage. Bryan Cranston and Robin Dearden met for the first time while they were seeing different people. But there was still a spark because Dearden remembered him as one of the funniest people she'd ever met. Now, 33 years later, they're married and have a daughter who's also working in the family business and has started acting. Cranston supposedly asked his now wife to marry him while they were taking a bath together. He said he did this because he knew he'd cry when he finally did it. Hugh Laurie and Joe Green's 33-year marriage. It can be very hard on a relationship to be an actress. Big names like Hugh Laurie and his wife Joe Green are great models. They've been married for 33 years now, but they almost broke up while Laurie was on House. He moved to Hollywood from London, but his wife stayed behind. He later said that the 8-year separation hurt their relationship. We can't even begin to picture what that must have been like. Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson's 33-year marriage. It wasn't until 1986 that Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson said they were dating. This was because Tom Hanks had to get a split from his first wife. After just 2 years together, they got married and had 2 kids. Hanks hasn't kept a secret about one of the main reasons he thinks they've been together so long. He said that they try to keep their personal lives separate. His exact words were, "No reporter has ever been in my house, and no pictures have ever been taken of where I live. I don't put my family on show, and I won't change that." Michael J. Fox and Tracy Pollan's 34-year marriage. While they were both in family ties, Michael J. Fox met the woman who is now his wife. Fox would have to wait, though, until some years later when Pollan broke up with star Kevin Bacon. He said he didn't wait too long, though, and soon after they started going out together. After less than a year, they got married. Even though they got married quickly, the two say it hasn't been all roses. A lot of people have talked about how Fox's Parkinson's has changed their lives and marriage since they ran away together 3 years ago. Fox is one of the biggest supporters of Parkinson's studies these days, and the two have said they will continue to depend on each other.